In this video, you'll learn the most important basic Excel terms, including row, column, range, formula, and more. And as a bonus, we'll also introduce you to some basic functions, showing you how they're written and what they do. Let's get started. In Excel, a column is a vertical group of cells labeled with letters like A, B, C, and so on. Columns help you organize data from top to bottom, such as listing names, dates, or values in a straight line. This is column A, one of the vertical columns in Excel. Columns are labeled with letters and used to organize data from top to bottom. This is column B. Just like column A, it's a vertical group of cells used to store similar data. This is column C. It's used to keep similar data in a vertical line. This is column D. It helps organize data vertically, just like other columns. Now that we've learned about columns, let's look at rows. A row is a horizontal line of cells labeled with numbers like 1, 2, 3. Rows help organize data across the sheet from left to right. When we say row, we mean the entire horizontal line of cells, from the first column to the last one in that row. This is row 7. As you can see, a row goes across the sheet from left to right, covering all columns in a single horizontal line. This is row 8. Just like other rows, it stretches horizontally and is labelled with a number on the left. Here's row 9. Just like other rows, it's a horizontal line of cells. So now you know what a row is. Next up is the cell. Let's dive in. A cell is the basic unit in Excel where a row and a column meet. It holds a single piece of data, like a number or text. Now let's look at a few examples of cells. This is cell D7. It's where column D and row 7 meet. Now here's cell D8. Just like D7, it holds a single piece of data. This is cell D9. Same column, but a different row. Now that you know what a cell is, let's move on to the next concept. Range. What is a range? In Excel, a range is a group of 2 or more selected cells. Let's look at some different examples of ranges to see how they work. Here we have a range from B2 to E7, a rectangular block of cells that spans several rows and columns, making it easy to format or analyze a whole block of data at once. Let's look at another example of a range. Here's another example of a range, from C6 to D9. It covers 2 columns and 4 rows, forming a compact rectangular block. Great! Now that we've learned what a range is, let's move on to the next topic. The formula bar is the area above the spreadsheet where you can view, enter, or edit the contents of a cell, especially formulas. Now that you know what the formula bar is, let's talk about functions, what they are and how to write them. A function in Excel is a ready-made, built-in formula that performs a specific task, like adding numbers, calculating averages, or finding the maximum value. For example, equals sum of cells C2 through C6. And remember, if you want to use a function, you must start with an equal sign. Without it, Excel won't calculate anything. Now that you know how to write functions in Excel, let's move on to the next topic. A workbook is your complete Excel file. It can have multiple sheets inside, each with different sets of data. Each time you save your work in Excel, you're saving a workbook, which may include one or many worksheets. To add more worksheets to your Excel file, just click the plus icon at the bottom of the screen. Now that you've learned what a workbook is, let's take a quick look at the Excel interface and review its main parts. The ribbon is the toolbar at the top of Excel. It contains all the main tools grouped into tabs like Home, Insert, Formulas, and more. The highlighted area you see on the screen right now belongs to the Home tab. Here you'll find icons for formatting, alignment, and other basic actions. To open other sections like Insert or Formulas, simply click on their tab names. Just like the Home tab, the Insert tab also appears in the same ribbon area at the top. When you click on Insert, the toolbar updates to show tools related to charts, tables, pictures, and more, but the layout stays the same. Next, the highlighted area is the formula bar, the same feature we talked about earlier. It shows the content of the selected cell and is where you can enter or edit formulas. The name box is located just to the left of the formula bar. It shows the address of the currently selected cell. Right now, it's A1 because that's the active cell, meaning we've currently clicked on it. If we click on cell B7, the name box will update to show B7 instead. Let's move on to the bonus section we mentioned earlier. We'll go over some basic Excel functions, their format, and how they work. Every formula in Excel must begin with an equal sign. After that, you type the function name, then open a parenthesis. Inside the parentheses, you enter the input data, which can be a range, a single cell, or even numbers, depending on what the function requires. Finally, you close the parentheses to complete the formula. Now it's time to see a formula in action. Let's write one step by step and understand how it works. Here we have a list of items with their prices in column C. To calculate the total of all prices, we use the sum function. It adds all the numbers in that range and shows the result below. For that, we first click on the cell where we want the total to appear. Then, we type the equal sign, write sum, and open a parenthesis. Since we want to add all item prices, we select the range C2 to C9. After that, we close the parenthesis and press Enter, and just like that, we get the total amount. Now that you've learned how the sum function works, let's move on to the next useful function in Excel. Now, let's calculate the average price of all items using the average function. First, we click on the cell where we want the result to appear. Then, we type the equal sign, write average, and open a parenthesis. Since we want the average of all item prices, we select the range C2 to C9. After that, we close the parenthesis and press Enter. And now we see the average price. Now that you've learned how the average function works, let's move on to another helpful Excel function. Let's now see how to use the count function to find out how many values are in our list. First, we click on the cell where we want the result to appear. Then, we type the equal sign, write count, and open a parenthesis. Since we want to count how many prices are listed, we select the range C2 to C9. After that, we close the parenthesis and press Enter. And Excel tells us how many numbers are in that range. Now that you've learned how the count function works, let's move on to the next function. Let's now use the min function to find the lowest value in our list. In our case, that means finding the smallest price among all the items. First, we click on the cell where we want the result to appear, for example, just below the list. Then, we type the equal sign, write min in capital letters, and open a parenthesis. Since we're looking for the smallest price, we select the range C2 to C9, which includes all the item prices. After that, we close the parenthesis and press Enter. Excel then calculates and displays the minimum value found in that range. Now that you've learned how to find the minimum value using the min function, let's move on to the opposite, the max function. Now, let's use the max function to find the highest value in our list. Just like before, we start by clicking on the cell where we want the result to appear. Then we type the equal sign, write max, and open a parenthesis. Since we want to find the largest price, we select the range C2 to C9. After that, we close the parenthesis and press Enter, and Excel shows us the maximum value in that range. You got it! Was that helpful? In the next video, we'll dive into even more powerful Excel tricks. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. See you soon!